Hi students, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to English class. Today we are going to continue our story which we started yesterday, the story of the flight of Daedalus and Icarus. So yesterday we read that how Daedalus he had murdered his own nephew. His name was Telos or Talus. Okay, so since he had murdered him, he was banished from Athens and he fled that country. So now he fled to Crete. He ran away to Crete with his son Icarus, where for a while they lived in peace. And King Minos is the king of that place, Crete. Okay, so after Daedalus fled to Crete, and he was warmly welcomed by King Minos. Here he was assigned with a new task to build a labyrinth for a monster called the Minotaur. Now you can see over here he was assigned this task of building a labyrinth. A labyrinth is a kind of maze, and for what purpose the king wanted him to build or design a labyrinth for the Minotaur. Minotaur was a kind of monster, and for that purpose, King Minos wanted him to build a labyrinth so Minotaur could not escape from that place. So it would be used as a terrible prison for that Minotaur. So uh, the Daedalus, he was assigned with this task. But once he had accomplished the task, the king Minos, he didn't allow him to leave the country. Now, since he had finished whatever the king had asked, he had done that one. But when he wanted to leave that place, King Minos would not let Daedalus to leave Crete. And what did he say? He said, now you can see over here, I'll just underline it. You made the labyrinth and are the only one who knows the way out. I cannot let you go. So the king did not allow him to leave because since he knew uh, how to escape that labyrinth, he knew the way out. So that's why now he had to stay there forever. But it was very difficult for Daedalus now because already he had fled Athens, but now he couldn't flee Crete because Crete was an island, a piece of land which was surrounded by water, and it was not an easy task to escape that island. So here King Minos kept all his ships under military guard. So military guard, since guards all the time they used to keep an eye who was coming and who was going. So it was very difficult for him to run away or to escape that place. And moreover, king had offered a large reward to anyone who would capture Daedalus and his son Icarus. So now he was in very terrible condition. Okay, since he was very intelligent, he devised a new plan to flee, to escape Crete. He gathered feathers of birds, he threaded them together and secured them with wax. Now you can see in this picture also, okay, he how he gathered feathers, okay, of different birds, and then he devised a plan to escape Crete. So he made feathers for his son and for himself, and he tied the wings to his son with a piece of um, advice. Now when he tied up the wings to his son's shoulders, he gave him a piece of advice. Now see, what was that advice? My dear Icarus, he said, holding his shoulders and looking into his eyes. Now, what was the piece of advice? My dear Icarus, you must obey this one rule. Do not soar too high, or the sun will melt the wax, and do not swoop too low, or the sea will wet the feathers, and you will fall. Do you promise me? I promise, father, the excited boy replied. So, this was the promise taken by Daedalus from his son. He gave him a piece of advice that he should not go or he should not soar or fly too high, as sun would melt the wax of the feathers and he might fall down. And if he would stay near the sea, the waves, the water will dampen. It would make them wet, and then also he won't be able to fly. Uh, Icarus, he promised to his father that he would follow his advice, but then we'll see what happens, whether he would follow his father's advice or he would forget about it. Yes. Together they took off, flapping their giant feathered wings. They flew over Crete, and fishermen, shepherds, and plowmen gazed upwards at what they thought were gods flying in the sky. Now you can see here in these pictures, shepherd. This is a picture of shepherd. Okay, shepherds, the plowmen, and all the other ordinary men, fishermen, when they looked up at the sky, they thought that the gods were flying. Okay, since ancient Greece is full of myths, so they believed that the gods were flying in the sky. Now, Icarus was enjoying himself greatly in the warm current of air, rejoicing in the exhilarating sweep of his wing. Rejoicing mean enjoying. Rejoicing mean enjoying, and exhilarating mean exciting and inspiring a sweep of his wings. He forgot his father's warning. He forgot his father's advice, and in a great rush of joy, he soared up towards the sun. Daedalus looked up behind him to make sure Icarus was following him, but he had disappeared. Scattered feathers floated on the turquoise water. Now see, you can see turquoise water, blue water. Now when Daedalus, he tried to find out his son, whether he was flying behind him. What did he see? He couldn't see his son, and he could see only the scattered feathers. They were spread here and there, and they were floating on the turquoise water. So what do you understand? Yes, you are quite right. He had drowned into the deep seas underneath, and he had drowned into that water. Now Daedalus circled round the spot where Icarus had fallen until his son's body rose to the surface. He carried the drowned boy to the island, now called Icaria, where he buried him with many tears. Now he was very upset with the death of his son. And the last line is very sentimental, and hopefully it would give you an idea of that partridge. Okay, perched on a tree as Daedalus wept was partridge cooing triumphantly to itself. Now the what was that partridge? It was the soul of Telos or Talus. Okay, it was the soul, and it was victoriously cooing, making sounds, singing happily, that it was winning something. Okay, how it was victorious, since he had killed his only nephew. So soul of Talus, which has transformed into a partridge, it was very happy since it had seen what he had done to his nephew. It was rewarded to him. Now this was the punishment of his sin. Now, in this way, Daedalus, he met his tragic end, and it has a very nice moral lesson also. Can you guess what moral lesson did you get from this story? Yes, you can think, and then I'll let you know. Yes, the moral of the story is, as you sow, so shall you reap. Tit for tat. When you dig a pit for others, you fall into it. You become the victim of that one. So when we have bad or negative feelings for others, and when we are jealous of others, then definitely we are going to suffer that jealousy. We are going to suffer the consequences of that jealousy. So this is the moral lesson. Another moral lesson that you get from this story: since Icarus didn't follow his father's advice, he met his disaster and he met his death. So we should always pay heed to our elders' advice, and we should try to follow the instructions given by our elders. So this is the moral of the story. Hopefully you would have understood it. Now here I have the recap of the story. You can read it, and here I have the extended task for you. If you want to read the story further, you can read this one, this extract also. Okay, then here I have the link of one video. You can watch it, and it will also help you a lot. So hopefully you would have understood today's story, and you will be able to answer the question based on the comprehension of this story. Thank you for listening.